everybody, and welcome to this exclusive interview with Greendyk. So here with me, I have Jim and also admin Hilda. Uh, we are going for this very exclusive interview, and we're very happy to be able to talk to you, Jim. Thank you very much. Um, Jim is actually an amazing reining trainer, and he's also fantastic at sharing his knowledge and making it easy to understand. So we're very happy that you can talk to us and answer all our questions. So, Jim, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. Absolutely. Off the top, I love to talk horse training and I love to share. I think I always say I know what doesn't work because I've tried it. So if I can help you by, telling you what doesn't work, trust me, I've done enough of it badly for long enough that I know what doesn't work. So I love sharing in that way and I really enjoy, you know, just sharing horse training. My background, a lot of people don't know this, but I didn't ride a horse till I was 17. My dog didn't own a dad. My dad didn't own a dog as a kid. We had no farming background, no ranching background, nothing. And I was always interested in animals. I volunteered on farms and things as a kid, but then I didn't get into horses till I was 17, and then it went very, very quickly for me. I started cleaning stalls in a barn at 17 years old, and at the end of that spring, the trainer said, "Well, what are you going to do for the summer?" And I said, "Well, I like being here, so why wouldn't I keep going?" And she said, "Well, if you're going to stay here, you have to get on colts and learn how to break horses." And okay, sounds good. Let's do it. And so that's really how it started for me. And since then, I worked for them 5 years. I went out on my own. I met my wife. We have 4 children. We now live in Scottsdale, Arizona, which for this interview, I'm outside of Vancouver, Canada. I'm actually at my parents' place today, but I normally live in Scottsdale, Arizona. And my wife, Pauline, and 4 kids. They are 14 and 11, 8 and 4. The oldest one rides very competitively. She and I have traveled a lot together, and it seems the youngest one is also very interested in riding all of the horses in the barn. So, it's a family thing, and we have a lot of fun doing it. Reining masterclass and these online clinics and all of those things that I do have been really, really fun, and it's allowed me to share with people all over the world. So here we are talking with you, and I love it. I absolutely love the opportunity to be with you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you. So it's actually very nice because the first time I actually saw Jim was when he had a free clinic, and he actually has, I think, some of them coming up, I think.
Well, what's crazy is that I just bought the website reiningreplaycom. So you can go check that out, reiningreplaycom. And on that website is my very first 4-day online clinic, which I believe is the one that you may have seen. But now you can go and sign up and you can watch it from anywhere in the world for free, anytime that you want to. So we uploaded all of those videos from that online clinic. There's four hours worth of me talking and discussing horse training and all of that at reiningreplaycom. And you can sign up for that and have a look at that, watch it in your own time. It talks about how to get more things from reining-masterclass.com and such. So that is actually a really cool new thing that we have there where you can basically go to that online clinic and watch that on your own time anytime because it's like saved there at reiningreplaycom for everybody.
Wow. Well, you guys definitely need to watch that because if that's the clinic that I was on, you don't want to miss it. So, you actually run our blog last week. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
that was
ask
fun.
you, yeah, how was it? Would you do anything different? Would you do it again?
I would learn how to turn off the loop sooner in the morning. After we talked about turning off the loop, I still didn't turn off the loop. I had no idea what I was doing. You know what? It was really fun because obviously I do so much social media, but so much of it is you know scheduled. My camera crew, they come a certain time in the week. We shoot this and this. Horse Pro TV. I shoot episodes for them. I shoot new stuff for Reining Masterclass. I have to shoot sponsorship stuff, for my boots and my hat and my shirts and, the supplements we have in the barn and keep the sponsors happy. And so a lot of that is really structured. It's never scripted. Like we turn on the camera and we just shoot content. It's just me riding horses and it's never scripted, but it is certainly structured. And so I had a lot of fun because it was really just me. Hey, here we are. We'll go ride another horse. Let's go do this. Let's do something else. Here's Lane. I enjoyed the easygoing way of like, man, I really have to do more of that. Just wander around the barn and talk to people. I think it was fun.
That was so cool. If you don't mind, I would like to jump into the questions that we got when you had the
Sure.
vlog. So first question is, do you only teach reining or do you teach basic Western as well? This is a question from Katinka.
Well, it's a great question. I think my focus is always reining. My purpose is always reining. But when I say that, I don't think that I'm so focused on the reining, say making only level 4 horses or making only fraternity horses. I think that reining is really basic horsemanship and basic Western horsemanship done really well. So, my whole goal is reining is a steering competition. The A general says willfully guided and dictated to completely with little or no apparent resistance. And so I'm trying to make the best steering horse. And so when you come to me with your barrel racing horse or your roping horse or your cattle penning horse, we're really going to treat it the same. We're going to make it a very good stopping horse, a very good turning horse. And when it steers and does all of those things, maybe it doesn't have to be just a reining horse, but it's going to be a very nice horse to ride. So I think I'm always on the Western horsemanship side of things. And then the horses that are very good at doing that become reining horses.
Mm, yeah, okay, that's very nice. And that actually leads a little bit into my next question, also from Katinka, is that do you have any opinions when it comes to untraditional breeds in Western?
I started my career in an Arabian barn, and the first time I saw Scottsdale, Arizona was with the Arabian reining, and I won the half Arabian reining fraternity in Scottsdale in 2013. My background actually came from Arabians, and then most of my early career was colt starting. So I've started every breed, shape, size, color, thoroughbreds, warm bloods, draft horses, draft crosses, Morgans. I mean, you pick a breed. Almost the only one I haven't ridden, I know for sure I haven't ridden, is the Akeltik, the interesting,
Yeah.
but man, I've ridden one of everything. So at this point, I have all quarter horses in the barn because I focused more and more on reining because my career has, evolved to where people come to me with reining horses and ask for my opinion. Can you do this with a non-traditional breed? Yes. Can you come here to the US with your non-traditional breed and expect to play along? No. It will be very hard. Can you do the reining? Yes, you can. But if you come here to Arizona or if you come to the US to do the reining here at the horse shows and you want to compete, you need to have something that's bred specifically for it because it's very specialized. Can you do the
Mm,
reining at home and have fun and make a horse slide and spin and do it a little bit? Absolutely, for sure. But if you really want to be competitive, you need a horse that makes it as easy as possible for you.
yeah, yeah. That's very true. And if I were going to compete with you guys in America, I would definitely have a horse bred for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
It would be silly if I told someone, oh, it's fine. You can ride any horse in the reining. And then you come here to the reining and you think, oh, no, I can't.
Yeah. So what would you do if you didn't do reining or not work with horses? What would you do otherwise?
Oh, that's a great question. I always laugh, even my April Fool's joke from April Fool's was maybe not totally untrue. I've always thought about being a real estate agent or, something like that because I like people. I love to do things. I love sales. I love selling horses and buying horses. I think I would enjoy real estate, because it's kind of the same. Um, the other thing I always say is that if I quit training horses, I would take 2 weeks vacation and then I would find a new hobby whether I would start singing again or whether I would get back into photography or some other new hobby. You know, I have a dirt bike and now I start to mess around a lot with suspension and doing enduro stuff and all of that. I would find a hobby, I would do it really, really hard. I would push myself. And then at some point, one of my friends would say, "Man, you've gotten really good at that. Can you set up the suspension on my dirt bike too?" And I would say, "Yeah, whatever. For $200, I'll set up your suspension." Okay, great. And I would have a new business. So I always think like, I don't know what I would do if I quit doing horses. I can't really imagine this because, you know, it's my life. But I think I would always be in some passion that I have doing it, and someone would ask me if I could do it for them, and then I would start a new business.
That's awesome. Um, so back to training. What are the five most important things to teach a horse, whether from the ground or from the saddle? What's just the most important things to teach the horse?
Forward, backwards, left, right, stop. Like very, very simple. Like if the horse goes very nice forward and very nice backwards, and if he goes very nice left and right, and if he can stop when you like him to, um, I think right at the beginning, that's the most important thing. And right at the end, that's the most important thing. I mean, they do them very differently, you know, like a very, very, very well-trained reining horse is only going forward and backwards and left and right, but he's doing it very smooth and very, very well. You know, your colt on this side after 5 rides, you only want him to go forward, backwards, left, and right. It's the same thing. But
Mm,
I think it's really that simple. And I've always said this that I want to get a lot of trainers together one day on a podcast and ask them that question. Because I think if you do it for 20 or 25 or 30 years, I think that's really what you say. Like, man, I tried all kinds of things. And in the end, I found out, like, really, I just tried to go forward and backwards and left and right as good as possible.
yeah, that's so true.
Mhm.
Actually, that's so true. That's some very simple, very good
Yeah.
knowledge.
If you're trying to do something else, you're wasting your time. Like, you know, really, like, that's all you have with the horses forward, backwards, left, right, stop.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of
And
the time, I mostly like to do it when I ask them, you know, because sometimes they do it when you don't, and then it's not good, you know.
what do you focus on other than neck reining when it comes to a young horse?
Well, I try to make it very simple for them. Like I just said, I try to make it very simple for me and for them. The first thing is neck reining, whether that's two hands in the snaffle where you're just steering, or in the bosel, the hackamore, where you're just steering with two hands. I think the biggest thing is that the shoulders, the withers, have to follow your hand. So wherever your hand goes, the front feet, the shoulders, like wherever you go with your hand, the front feet should go there. If the front feet go there, then the head and neck will also go there, funny enough.
Mm,
And you don't have to spend so much time making the horse, you know, with his head and neck down or any of like just steer it around. And if it wants to be a low-headed horse, it will be a low-headed horse. If it's not a low-headed horse, you're just wasting your time fighting with him. You know, make him really nice going forward, backwards, left, and right. So outside of neck reining, I do a lot of softening. Like, you know, in reining masterclass, I have a body control exercise where we put one cone in the middle and then like side passing the horse in a circle around the one cone. It's very, very difficult. It seems simple, but it's very difficult. And you have to keep the horse's nose the same distance from that one cone all the way around that circle. And if they push on you, you get too close to the cone. If the shoulders are leaving, the cone is suddenly over here. If the hip is leaving, the cone is suddenly on the other side of you.
mm,
Uh, Balance. So after they neck rein and steer well, then you really have to make sure that when you pick up your left rein, the horse gives the left side of his body. When you pick up your right rein, he gives the right side of his body. And then all the body control comes from that. So I think outside of neck reining, you really have to have a horse that knows where like the feet are connected to your leg and the nose is connected to your leg. So when you put your leg on the rib cage, you get that softness from that side. You can't do that from your hands.
mm. Yeah, okay. So, um, how do you work with a horse that is stressed?
You know what? Funny, we did that a bunch at this clinic I just had this weekend in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Several of those horses really know the job and they're, been reining before. And so they go to the middle and just like vibrating, they're so stressed, jumping up and down. And um, I tried to find why the horse is stressed. If it's a young horse, maybe it just doesn't know.
Mm.
Maybe it doesn't know what you're doing. If it's a young horse and you've had it a while, maybe you're stressed. Like maybe you come out and say, man, I have 45 minutes to work on this horse. I have to do this. I have to do that. I think you have to be very careful that you discipline yourself, because horse training is very simple. I said that a minute ago, but it also, like, the horse needs to know where to go from the pressure you're putting on it, which means you need to know what pressure you're putting on it, and you need to know what the end goal is, so that when the horse begins to go there, you can release the horse for doing it. So you have to be very responsible. Why are my legs on the horse? Why am I pulling on the horse? Why am I sitting a little bit sideways? Why am I kicking him? All of these things, you have to know why you're doing this, so that you can also know what you're trying to achieve. So when the horse begins to go the right direction, then you say, good, you're going the right direction. If you don't know this, the horse can never figure out what you want, because you don't know what you want. And so most of the time, the stressed horses, I find, come from that. People doing too fast, trying to make it happen, trying to create something, push something, make something, rather than let something happen. And if you slow down and you make sure that you really know, why am I putting my leg on? Why do I pick up my hand? Oh, the horse does this. Okay, then I can release him. And once the horse knows where to go from the pressure you put on him, then the stress goes away. And then the second thing, once the horse knows where to go from the pressure that you put on him, now you also have to be responsible to always give him enough time to go there. You see, on the older horses, they know how to spin, they know how to lope off, they know how to stop. But when we go, whoa, and you pull so fast, or when you go and you go to start your spin so fast, even if the horse knows what to do and you move your hand, he can't even do it fast enough before you kick him. So now he's also like, oh boy, she's going to ask me to do it. And I don't even I can't even get it in time. And so, one, if the horse knows his job, he'll be okay. Two, if he knows you're always going to give him enough time to do his job, he'll also be okay. And most of the time, the stress I find comes from something like that, where either the horse doesn't know what you're trying to do, or the horse thinks, like, I know what to do, but they're so fast, I can't even get it right if I tried.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that's wow. Lots of things to remember. It's kind of like you have to train yourself first before you can train the horse.
I always say the horses influence you more than you ever influence the horse. Like we're not changing the horse that much. Either he spins good or he doesn't spin good, and you can change this a little bit, but the horses change us more.
Mhm.
Mm,
You become the kind of rider that you are based on the horses you rode.
that's so true. Yeah. Well, I need to get going with more questions.
Sorry. I always give the long answer.
No, no, we love it. We love it when you go in detail. So this is actually a couple of questions from Malin. And first one is, do you fix problem horses, the ones who bucks and rears? And I think maybe you do because of what you said before that you started colts.
I don't do it as much anymore because I'm getting old. So, and no, I'm not that old, but I don't do it as much as I used to. But yes, I started 2000 colts before I went on my own, so I've done a lot of problem horses. The thing with fixing problem horses is, if that is your business model, then people get to know you as the guy that fixes the worst horses. And so the better you get at that, the worse the horses get that you have to ride. So you have to be careful with that, because yes, I can fix problem horses, great. But every morning that I get up, I don't want to ride the worst horses in the neighborhood. I would like to ride some good ones too. So
Mm,
as a business thing, you have to be careful. If you're just fixing problem horses, well, then you're just fixing problem horses. But I like to ride show horses. And so if I only do problem horses, it also influences me and my business, and I ride different. So it's an interesting question. I definitely do it, but I try not to do it too much. Otherwise, you have a whole barn full of problem horses.
yeah. All right. Fantastic. Oh, here is a good one. Do you have any tips on lead change? Because my mare changes a smooth in the front, but the hind legs always needs to lope some extra steps before changing.
Sure. That's very, very normal. Probably when you go to the lead change, the shoulder is going first. So probably the horse is leaning into the lead change. I have an hourglass exercise at reiningmasterclass.com, which is very, very good. And it really will help you because you go, especially in small arenas, you go all the way lateral like this and then back out again. And so basically, if we use the screen, we have a cone here, and then we have two together in the middle, and then we have one over here and one over here. And you go around this way and you push the horse all the way into center, and you change leads here and go all the way out and go around on the end and back here and back out. And so I just make sure that the horse is really straight, because for good lead changes, you need forward and you need lateral. And so at some point when you do this exercise, you find out either you have a lot of forward or you have a lot of lateral. And if you have too much of either one, you come in the middle for the lead change and the horse runs away because he has too much forward, or you come in the middle for the lead change and the horse falls the one way and doesn't change leads in the back because he has too much sideways. And so it's very hard for me to answer the question really specific for you, but I do have an exercise that will really help you find where the problem is. And I think it normally comes from the horse not being straight. So when you come in the middle, the horse goes like this when you change the leads to the right, and then the hip is sitting behind and not going here, forward and sideways together.
All right. I hope that was a good explanation to actually find out what is the problem that they're having. And the
Yeah,
next
I
step,
think that's the biggest thing.
yeah, you have to find out what the problem is before you can actually fix it.
Yep.
The next question is from Emily, and she wants to know if you can give her some good exercises for getting her horse's ass underneath her more when stopping. Also, some good exercises to help the horse stay on the 8 pivot foot in the spin.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I use a square for the pivot foot. I use a square. It's also at Reining. All of these exercises are in my online course, so you can find them there and go purchase it. It will really help you. Like nobody ever sent the course back after they bought it. So, but I use a square for the pivot foot, and I really take the horse out and I push hip out, shoulder in, and I push the horse around, and then I let it come through the middle here. Then inside leg, I push the hip out, lift the shoulder in, come back, and I go around through this square, always letting the horse release and go through the middle of the square soft. And then when I feel good, I stop in the middle and I ask them to spin the direction we were going. So if we're going around to the left here on the corners, then I'm going to ask spin to the left. And what you've done is you've pushed the inside leg underneath, but you've brought the shoulder in so the horse stays more straight. Because a lot of times when you go to spin, everyone wants to pull on the inside of the horse. And when they pull for the spin, it bends the horse too much, and then they stand on the outside leg. So as far as the spin goes, you need the horse to come straight through off the neck crane, so they come straight through with the shoulders and really move the shoulders as much as possible. And there's only so much motion in a horse. So if the shoulders do as much as they possibly can, the back end starts to stand still. If the shoulders put half effort in, then the back end puts the other half effort in, and you see what I mean. So that, as far as the spin goes, that's what I do there. As far as keeping the horse's ass underneath him when you stop him, that is really the backup. Actually, we just did 3 videos that'll be uploaded in the next week or two to reiningmasterclass.com on 2-year-olds and then one of my 4-year-olds on that very basic, like, where do you start with your snaffle? How do you get that horse to be underneath itself? And I think 1, it has to go forward easily. And then 2, when you draw, you have to work on that draw. When you draw on the horse's chin, it really has to pick its shoulders up and come back with the shoulders. And so now when you go forward good and you draw just light, strong, light, smooth on the chin, they should go back. And the shape of your backup will be the shape of your stop.
Mm.
So if the horse backs up with his neck in the air, how do you think that he's ever going to stop good? And running faster and pulling harder with his neck in the air is not going to make him stop in the back. You have to slow down. You have to make him back up here, slow, strong. Make sure they know. Again, they have to know where to go from the pressure. Like when you go fast down the arena and you pull, what is the horse supposed to do? Well, I don't know. I'm standing in the stirrups and I pull and his head goes in the air. So I put a martingale on to force him to put his head down. The horse doesn't know anything. He only knows when you go fast and pull that this doesn't go good. So he gets nervous. So you have to back up. You have to make the back up very soft, very strong, very 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And when they back up really round, now when you go and you ask for the backup, the stop will come from that.
Awesome. And then we're going to some question from Stine. And some of this we actually talked a little bit about, but there's a lot more coming from her. So I just want to go through everything.
Sure. Yeah.
So what's your best tip for training calmness in the transition into the lope?
That's a great one. On my young horses, I trot into it. So on my young horses, I jog small squares. I jog like square, 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 steer, go straight, steer, go straight. And then at some point, we're just jogging around. I lay my outside leg, kiss, and I release them into the lope rather than standing still and go, yeah, and try to chase them in the lope. So I'm trotting around. The horse is really in a small square, really comfortable. He feels soft, everything. Go in the lope and just relax. So that actually coming from the trot to the lope, the horse is, oh, that's actually easier. Once we go in the lope, you put your hand down, just go around. I don't care if the head is up, the head is down, just move the feet quietly. Afterwards, I can make them good in their face or make their neck good or everything else. But if they don't lope nicely, bridling up and make them all this way before you lope off is a waste of your time.
All right, nice. So if the horse gets anxious during training, how do you bring them back down? Do you stop and let them stand? Do you back them up? Do you use a run, or do you use a one rein stop?
It depends how anxious. If it's so anxious that it's going across the arena sideways with his head up, then I pull him around one rein stop for sure. If it's just like the horse is trying too hard and try to learn it, then I have to slow down, back up, go back a step. So wherever you were 10 minutes ago when the horse was quiet, go back there and then come back to this place where they're uncomfortable and go back there and come back to this place and go back there. So what I mean by that is sometimes I have to go back just jogging and steering because I was trying to do something and the horse is not understanding. And so they get nervous. So then I go back, jog and steer around, go back to neck rein, lay the rein on, steer around. Ah, the horse came back to me. Seems okay now. All right, let's go try again.
Awesome. Well, that was actually my last question, and I'm going
Oh,
now
cool.
to hand it over to Hilda.
So about that stopping you were talking about, Jim, she is also wondering, how do you work with a horse that doesn't know how to stop yet and gets really wound up during the learning process?
Yeah, that I would back it up a lot, like one step at a time, 1 foot, 2 foot, 1 foot, 2 foot. Sometimes even you can back in circles where you pick up both hands, but you pick up this outside rein more, and then you put your leg on and you like back this shoulder up, then back that shoulder up, then back this shoulder up, then back that like really work on the back up until the horse really can crawl backwards. Like you don't want them to fly backwards because then they're also nervous. The backup is so fast and it's tight. Like they really just 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you can do that where you take your legs off and you say, whoa, and you pick your hand up lightly and the horse just puts his neck down and goes backwards soft, I think the stop will come. Probably most people are trying to do the stop by going way too fast and try to pull the emergency brake for no reason. I don't know. I don't know the horse. It's hard for me. I can't judge anybody
You
for
have to
their
see them
training, but
live to get a good explanation on this one, I
yeah,
think.
to really help you, I have to see it go.
Yeah. And then we have Mina. She is wondering, why do you break 2-year-old when in other disciplines they mostly wait until they are 3 years and a little more developed? Also, do you have any tips for someone that wants to get into Western or more precise reining?
Sure, that question comes up a lot, and I really love it. My theory on this is that when you start earlier, it's very much like children beginning a sport. Uh, it's very similar. You don't have to ride so hard.
Mm.
If I start later and I want the horse to be a reining horse, and it needs to fit into a certain time frame of aged events and things. It's unfair for me to start a horse at 4 years old and then go to the Derby and say, well, he's 5, so he should really do this the same as the horses already that did it for 3 years. And so we start at 2 because it gives us more time. You know what? The horse is a little tired. He can have 1 month off. I don't have to ride him every day. I ride him 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I think it's my 2-year-olds are going around stopping, turning, spinning already, but I think maybe we ride them 3 days a week. And sometimes I don't look at him for a week, like just, yeah, he's good. Like let him grow up, let him develop. And so it's very much starting early and giving you time to just develop that horse slowly into an athlete rather than putting so much pressure on to start at 4 years old in the reining and then try to make that horse catch up with everyone else. And I think you sooner make injuries that way than with starting early and being careful. Now, there are exceptions to everything. There are guys that start them way too early and ride them way too hard. There's guys like that in my neighborhood. And we always talk about this, even among us in the industry. We say, oh man, like, why is that guy trying to, like, if you're trying to impress everyone on Instagram with your 2-year-old because it's so amazing, then you're doing it for the wrong reason already. Like, just train the horse quiet, slow. He has a long career and he has to do reining a long time. Don't try so much. Make him a nice horse first. And then if he wants to be very good, he can be a reining horse. And so that's my mindset on it. And I don't think, there's so much industry involved. It always comes back to that, like the breeders, the trainers, the owners, everyone. If you make it happen later in life, you have to change a lot of things. It's not as simple as like, oh, make the futurity for 5-year-olds or for 4-year-olds. It changes the whole industry, and that's very, very difficult to do. It's a lot more complicated than it seems most of the time. Getting into reining, the second question. Yeah, go do it. Find a horse that can do it so that you can learn how to do it. Get started, do it badly, improve. I always say, go to the horse show with your reining horse or go for lessons with your reining horse and fail badly. Then go home and practice and fail better the next time.
Easy as that. And another tip is if you want to have some contacts in the reining environment here in Norway, contact us. I will get you in the contact with Western Riders Association of Norway. They have a lot of contacts also in the reining, so they will help you out. And then we have Eriksen. I don't know how to say that one in English, but she is wondering, what do you consider to be a broke horse?
Yeah, we said that earlier. Go forwards and backwards, left and
Yeah.
right and stop. I said, like, when I sell a horse, it needs 2 things. Like, it has to be nice to be around, and it has to steer easily at all 3 gates. Like, if I like it in the cross tie and it's a nice horse and it stands quietly and does everything, if you could saddle it up and do whatever you want with it. And then when you ride it, if it steers very well around, it's pretty broke. It doesn't matter if it doesn't stop 30 feet or you can't rope cows on it every day but man, if it's a good-minded horse and it steers really nice, it's always
It's
then
done.
it's
It's
broke.
broke.
Then it's broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About those in the hallway where you set the horses, what's with the tennis balls?
Oh,
I
you
was
know what?
wondering that all the way.
That's a great. Some of the horses they reach and they try to bite the clip or they try to chew on the rope, so they actually get the rope in their mouth, and then the one horse chews through, like.
Yeah.
Over a couple weeks, she's always hit the rope in her mouth, and pretty soon I have to buy a new cross tie because she just chewed through the rope. So I came from Tractor Supply the other day buying new ropes for the cross tie because she had chewed through it. And then as I went by, I saw the dog tennis balls. I saw those big tennis balls, and I thought, I'm going to put that thing on there. Then she can grab that tennis ball, but it's too big, so she can't grab it. And so now every time trying to grab the rope, and she can't. So we put it on there so she doesn't chew on the rope.
Nice trick, though.
Yeah, it's a good trick. Yeah.
Thought it
was
was
a smart
because
one.
you didn't like the sound when you dropped the lead rope.
That it does that too, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
it also, like, when you drop it against the wall, it doesn't smack the wall as much. Yeah.
So then we have Thea. She is wondering, what do you look for in a 2-year-old before getting on them? Conformation, education, or what do you look for in general in the horse?
Yeah, both. I mean, they need to be good-minded and quiet and relaxed. I mean, they have to pack the saddle and be, nice enough before I'm going to get on them for sure. And then, you know, yeah, confirmation for sure. If it's big and stout and strong and the angles of the shoulders and the hip are all correct and it's not too long or too tall, all of those things make a difference. I like one that just looks balanced. You look at a horse and it's very balanced and it's good-minded. Let's do it.
But when they are in the growing pain or growing area of their life, going backwards to the question from, who was that? Mina, when she was asking about these 2-year-olds. When they are growing at the most in the period of their life, are you giving them a longer time off than normal, or do you still keep training them throughout that period as well?
So what you have to remember is they grow like this a lot of times too. So, what you have to keep in the back of your mind is that if you taught it something and it's going good, and then in 1 month you think, man, this thing is so stupid. It used to stop okay, and now it's like this, you can't force it, you can't beat it up. You do have to say, you know what, it's actually also really standing downhill the last month. So whatever. And that's why I focus so much on steering. Just ride the horse around and ride it around till it grows up and it gets strong. Ride it out in the deserts. You guys don't have deserts, but you know what I mean.
No, we
And
don't.
like, no, you don't have desert. But ride the horse, just a horse. And then as it's growing and it gets better and it's soft and it's nice, then it becomes a reining horse if it can do it. If it can't do it, then you have to just have a nice horse.
How do you keep the horses going between the competitions?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Riding, some days not riding. We come home from the show and 3, 4, 5 days off. We also have the TheraPlate. I don't know if you have the TheraPlate by you, but we have a TheraPlate. We have the MagnaWave, which is the pulsed electromagnetic frequency thing, like, with the loops that you put over the horse's back. Lots of
Yeah.
therapy things. We ice the horse's legs lots of days when we get home. We put ice on the legs. At the horse shows, they have a special truck that actually goes along with saltwater spa in the truck. So the trailer parks at the horse show, and we actually put the horses in a cold salt water bath. So it's high salt water, and then it's -2 degrees chilled. And so they go 20 minutes in that, and it fills up and it bubbles like above their knees. And so really like take the swelling out of the legs. We'll do that every day at the horse show in between shows where they go in the spa and get their legs really cold, and it just all of those things help to keep them sound.
That's really cool. And that's something that we don't have here in Norway. We have these cooling pads and just plain water and things like that, but nothing like the ones that you described.
Oh,
That's
it's massive.
awesome.
You can look up Elite Equine Spa, so ELITE, Elite Equine Spa, and you can probably find it. It's like a big turquoise logo, and you can find on the internet some videos or some pictures of it. But Jesse and Sierra that own it are friends of mine, and they go to all the big horse shows. That the truck goes there, and they park the big semi trailer there in the show, and you walk into the trailer and go in the spa and go out on the other side.
Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, onward to the next one. Luna is asking, you already answered her first one with why do you break the horses as 2-year-olds? So we just jump to the next one there. Do every horse have their own saddles? Or do you have the same saddle for everyone at your ranch?
Three different saddles that I work with. I have a lot of saddles. The customers have different saddles. We're always, you can have the saddle fitter out. Actually, we had the girl out the other day and she was measuring for a lady to get one, because my smart spook mare is kind of sensitive and she does need something specific. But most of the time, I have three saddles that I use and I trade them around. And it's very hard to make sore spots when the saddles, can be interchangeable a little bit. They're very, very high end equipment, and it's also hard to make sore spots if you're only riding for 30 minutes every day. Like if you're riding 8 hours in the mountains, you can really cause a problem with a bad saddle. If you're riding 30 minutes in the day, and it's not a perfect fit on that horse, it's very close, and they're very, very good saddles and saddle pads, but you're also only riding for 30 minutes.
What is kind of the main focus for you with the saddle to that horse? Is it like, where do you not want the pressure, if you know what I mean? Where do you not want it to be the most tight to the horse, you know?
The two spots you have problems are the withers, obviously, because so much happens with the shoulders. So if the saddle is tight and down into the shoulders, that's really where you have most of your problems. But also, if the horse has more of a slope to its back, sometimes it will sit here on the shoulders and then what we call bridge across and sit on the kidney. So then the end of your saddle is sitting like on the lower back, and they get really sore there too if it's not correct.
Cool. Her next question is, how do you start a youth horse or young horse?
Yeah, in the round pen, first making him stop and turn and pay attention to me. Then we saddle in the round pen. Then we, normally ride him in there. I also pony the horses, so I have an older gelding, and I'll put the lead rope around my saddle horn, and I'll take the young horse with me, so he kind of goes with a friend, like they do at the racetrack.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that. A lot of times, the first time that my assistant gets on the young horse, we'll pony like that. So I'll ride and just hold the young horse, and he just gets on, and we just ride around with the four of us, two horses and two guys. And sometimes it goes badly, and then he jumps in my lap with his young horse, and then you have to let him go, and he goes across. So it doesn't always go great. Sometimes you have a big wreck, but it's the safest way to do a lot of that stuff, and most of the time it goes fine. But yeah, and then most of the time in the halter or in the Boselle, the hackamore, and just get them going around nice. They just have to go forward, backwards, left, and right.
Have you had any serious injuries while doing this kind of breaking?
I always knock on wood to make sure I don't, I really not. I honestly, I've been very fortunate that way. I've certainly been bucked off and, you know, tore things. I tore all the tendons in the top of my foot one time because the horse slipped and fell over on me and landed on my foot, but like bent it this way. So tore everything loose on the top of my foot. That was painful. Um, I had a horse one time lunging and the horse slipped and it spun around and it jumped the other way and it tore everything in my shoulder. It just like took me almost off the ground, like did
Yeah.
one of these, like out of the blue, just a freak injury. I've been kicked a few times, that always is painful as anything. But really like to be broken or to be really injured, I've been very fortunate that, I like I say on my Instagram, I'm very aware of my mortality. So I never tried to prove something to anyone, like if it doesn't feel right to get on the horse today, I'm not getting on. Like I will work him again another day. I'll work him tomorrow. I'll work him later today. When it feels right to ride him, it feels right to ride him. And that's very hard to explain to someone. They always ask, when do you know how to get on the horse? I said, one day I ride him, and the next day I'll tell you, yeah, today's not a good day.
Mm. It sort of goes on with the stomach feeling when you get to know yourself a little bit more better and also the
Yes.
horse. It's like you see the horse and just like,
Yes.
no, sir, not today.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I think,
Um,
there's days you have to get on and go and do it.
yeah,
But there's also days when you have to trust yourself and say, like I'm really just being stupid. If I get in a wreck today, why am I scare my horse and hurt myself and all of this? There's no point.
of course. Another question from Luna is, what tells you that a horse is ready for a rider?
See, there you
Hmm?
go. That's exactly the question. Everyone asks it,
Yeah.
and it's very hard, it's a feeling. It's like skiing. What tells you that today we should take that run? Well, the sun is okay. It's earlier in the day. My legs feel good. The snow seems to be a good kind of snow. You make so many decisions as a professional that you say, yeah, we can ski here today. But if the sun is wrong and it's a little bit of ice and it's later in the afternoon and you think I'm a little bit tired, then you don't ski the same hill because, yeah, you know what? I think I'm getting hurt today. And I make the same decisions with my dirt bike as I do with my horses, as I do with snowboarding, like all of those things that I've done really aggressively, you just have a feeling like you can see that today seems like the right thing, and yesterday didn't seem like the right thing. And it's very hard to explain.
Know all about it. I had a snowboard accident once. It didn't go that good.
Yeah, yeah,
Not doing the snowboard again.
yeah, yeah. You can really get hurt doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can. What kind of bit do you recommend for new beginners? Totally newbies.
That's really hard, because it depends on the horse, depends on the horse's knowledge. If this is a brand new young horse, just ride it in a snaffle.
Mm.
If it's a brand new person with an older broke horse, the horse may go very good in a shank bit, and you probably should just ride him one-handed and learn how to do it. That's very, very difficult to say because I don't think there is a one bit for this time in life fix. I don't think that you can do that. It's very, very unique. I would say the best thing you can do if you have that question is find a trainer or find someone to work with you and your horse and say, this I think is the best fit for your horse, and I think this is what you should do. I think that's the best answer to that question. Find someone who can help you with you and your horse.
Yeah. How do you teach your horse to turn away from the pressure? Because she is taught in normal or classic riding, not the Western riding, but in the classic riding is when you pull in the right rein, she is gonna go right, right? While when you are doing the Western, she thinks that when you're pulling the right, the horse is gonna need to go left. You understand?
Yeah, totally. That's that single cone exercise, the body control exercise from reining masterclass. When you touch the right side of the horse's face and you put your right leg on and you side pass or somehow laterally you move the horse to the left, they learn when you touch the right side of their jaw that they have to move their shoulders to the left. And with that bend, when you take the horse from here and you pull on his face and you put your leg here like this, when they bend and they move this way, now, when you take the rein across and neck rein and put your leg on, they go this way. They get very heavy in the front end if you pull on the right rein and they turn into this. Then you have to put your inside leg to push the horse and keep him up, which is what happens in English riding. Or if you teach too much the inside rein, now when you touch that horse's face on the right, on his face, he's going into that, which makes him heavy in your hand because when you touch his face, he pushes into that space. So now when you draw here, the horse feels heavy in his face. He's not. He's just taught when you touch his face there, he should go against it. He should go into it. And so we do a lot of counter bend, a lot of side pass, a lot of getting the horse to come away from the leg and the rein and move this way so that when I neck rein, the horse understands, oh, when I get all the way through the neck rein to the horse's face here still on the right, he's going that way.
That's a good answer. And that was the last one from Luna. Then it's from me, actually.
Oh, well,
Uh,
now we really have a problem.
yeah. So in this big Western world, you do have a lot of choices when it comes to the saddles. You have all kinds of width and things like that. But what do you recommend? Do you recommend the boomless or the one that's not boomless? Which one is the better?
I really always ride with what we call a tree. I think that's what you mean, like
Yeah,
the English,
yeah,
you say the tree, the tree,
yeah.
and yeah, I really always ride with the treed saddles. The treeless saddles have too much give. They're not, in a way, when you ride at a very high level, you have to depend on the saddle as well. You have to depend that it's going to be really here and stable. And some of them are not so stable. They move too much. Are they comfortable for riding in the trails or for riding every? Yes, there's some very comfortable treeless saddles, but I stray away from them because I haven't seen one that's designed well enough to really help you do a good job with your Western training at a high level. You can
Mm.
certainly go a certain distance with it, but at some point, I find that those treeless ones always kind of stop here, and you have to go beyond that to get better.
Cool. And the last question from me is about the horse business. When you look at the
Sure.
Yellowstone, the series, the big famous series, the Yellowstone, the horse business is kind of glorified, if I can say it like that, showing all of these good, uh, yeah, reining horses and things like that. You have
Sure.
seen a lot of them in competition as well. I've been so lucky to see one of them in the competition. My God, stuttering. Yeah. I've been so lucky to see one of them actually in competition. But how is the business? Because I can't see the business in the States, the horse business, being this glorified as the Yellowstones put it through.
Yeah, you're very right. I mean, it's a great thing. But it's a lot of work. There's a lot of people in it not making any money. There's a lot of trainers struggling to fill the barn or struggling to, I think filling the barn and having good horses in the barn is not so hard as getting a horse trainer to really learn how to do the business. So many horse trainers are artists, they're out there riding, training every day, doing the art of it, but they hate to do the business,
Yeah.
and so then they're not good with the money and they're not good with invoicing and making sure the customers are paying. And like I struggle with this too, like really to ride and train and travel and teach and do all of that every day. And then also like run a good business on the other side of it is very difficult. I think Yellowstone makes it look amazing, and Yellowstone did a very good job for the Western industry because a lot of people came into the Western industry that maybe never would otherwise, and it looks fun, but it's very hard work. And there's a lot of assistant trainers and stall cleaners and people behind the scenes working, 16 and 18 hours every day to make it work. It's very, very hard work. Now, I think all the horse trainers are supportive. If I have a problem with a horse, I can phone in Scottsdale to anyone and yeah, bring the thing over tomorrow. Let's do it. Let's figure it out. I don't know. Yeah, bring two over, ride another one too. Everyone is very supportive if you want to learn something and get better. But Yellowstone is TV. I mean,
Yeah.
the horses are that cool. They stop that big, they turn that fast. What you saw there is the truth. I mean, there's a lot of horses that can do it at that level, but the business is very hard. It's even the best trainers are, working around the clock day in and day out to make it work. It's a hard business.
Well, thank you, Jim. There you got it, folks. The Yellowstone is a little bit untruthful to the real
Yeah.
Western industry, according to Jim himself. So,
Yeah, I mean it does a good job, but it's for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's TV. It's
it's
TV. Tara,
TV.
Tara
It's
Sheridan wants
TV.
TV. So like it's with everything in TV. Like there's some truth so you can believe it, and then there's some extra so that you can enjoy it.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Jim, for having us along with you for one day. It was super fun. And yeah, we hope you had fun as well. And I hope people will treat you kind at the Snapchat, that you didn't have any incidents.
I
One
loved it.
last thing,
Thank
though.
thank you guys for having me along. It was amazing. I had fun doing it. And no, even if someone wants to treat me unkind, I mean, I've done it long enough now that I
You trust yourself, right?
yeah, if you don't like yourself so much that you have to also not like me, then I feel bad for you.
Yeah. One last thing, though.
Sure.
Can you tell us about any embarrassing moments on the horseback while riding?
Oh, yes, I have a very good embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
I can tell lots of embarrassing assistant trainer stories. I like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I want
but
yours, not theirs.
yeah, so I think the most embarrassing thing in my whole career was one time I was still in Canada and I had three horses in the Derby. Actually, here in Chilliwack, I'm sitting back here in my hometown, really where I had my career most of my life. And they have the local show facility here. It's a very nice place. It was a big show for Canada. And I had three horses in the open Derby and I had two assistants. So I said to the one assistant, you warm up the second horse like this, you warm up the third horse like that. And it was a small Derby. So we really had them kind of almost back to back, like maybe 12 horses in the class. So I had like draw one and draw 4 and draw 8 or something, you know, so not a lot of time to warm them up. So I really have a plan. Everything is planned out. The horses are all going great. So I get on my first horse, I warm him up, I jog in, and someone says, "Your number is wrong. Your back number is wrong." And I said, "No, it's not wrong. That's the right number for that horse." "Oh, this is the wrong horse." And I really rode the wrong horse. I looked at the draws, I looked at everything, and he was the second horse for me to ride. And I got on him thinking I knew all the plan, and I really rode it in with the wrong horse. So I really backed up and backed out again. I said, "Hey, bring that one over. I have to show him first. Here, come here." So really, they're sitting at the back gate, like, how stupid is Jim? He's really riding the wrong horse into the show pen. And I traded and got on the other horse and rode in there, and she showed really good. I get on the other horse and I go in there and I'm like, everyone is laughing at me, you know, everyone kind of snickering, like, "Ah, Jimmy's so stupid," you know, which is true. But I get on the other horse and I'm riding that one and it's pretty good as well. And actually, yeah, so the black horse was the last one. That's right. So I actually had it like almost backwards. And so at this point, I'm like, man, so I made a mistake with the second horse. The first one showed pretty good. And then the last one was the one that I really should win it on, you know, like he was a good horse. And so I go through the pattern and you just know in my head, I know everyone is laughing at me because you know, man, like
Yeah.
he's so dumb. And so I'm like, I'm going to prove this, you know. So I'm showing him and he turns a +1, spins +1 both ways, running on the circle. I thought, man, this horse is really going, like, prove to everybody. And it was maybe pattern 11 or pattern 3 where you finish at the other side and yeah, that's right. I didn't spin first. He ran, did everything, and then it was pattern 3, I believe, where I was stopping back up and do the spins at the end. And so I go and lay my rein on and I turn around to the right, very hard +1. Feels really good. I turn around to the left and it feels even better. And somehow, I don't know, I closed my eyes or it went so fast. When I said, "Whoa," I really turned 4.5 and I was looking the opposite way in the arena. I really like, whoa. And I'm like, "Oh man, this." And then I said, "Where did the people go?" And I'm looking around like, "Oh, the stands are behind me." Oh man, like that's for sure the dumbest story ever. Like I I won it with the bay horse. You know, I did win with one of my horses. You know, it was okay. The nice little bay mare, she won the Derby in the end, but the black one should have won it, and I should have been 1 and 2. And I just, I'm stupid, you know.
No, you're not stupid. It's an honest
Oh,
mistake, but it's fun to hear about though.
oh yeah, that's probably the most embarrassing ever. Like, I mean, yeah, if the horse's battery kicks out or something, or you're frustrated with showing, but there was nothing. The horses were all good, and I was just really, everybody was just laughing. Like, I turned 4.5 and really like stopped, and then really like, where am I?
It's
Yeah,
been so fast that you were blown to the moon, I guess.
yeah, exactly. I look around like, oh, where do we go? So dumb.
So
Yeah,
thank you so much, Jim, for sharing with us, and I hope
of
to see
course.
you soon.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. Absolutely. You know, I had so much fun doing it. It's great to share Western training. I love to talk about it, and I also love to do it. So, yeah, thank you, girls. I enjoyed a lot. I'm sure we'll talk more soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Of course.